What's going on, everybody? Y'all already know the vibes, and in today's video I'm going to be talking top 5 Call of Duty World War II pros, in my opinion, of course. The 5th best Call of Duty player in World War II, in my opinion. Honestly, a guy I used to terrorize consistently, a guy who had many sleepless nights because of me, a guy who woke up in a cold sweat multiple times throughout the World War II season. But at the end of the day, he was pretty damn good at World War II, and that is none other than the Iceman, aka Fat Bob, aka TJ Haley. Thieves was an absolute beast in World War II, you know, 4v4, classic boots on the ground. This was his playground, right? As a sub player, as an aggressor in the game. He was phenomenal at World War II, okay? He was on rise throughout the whole year. He won 3 events in World War II, basically dominated every series he competed in, except the ones where I was going up against them, of course. And this game was just made for him and his play style, you know, the super aggressive, in-your-face submachine gun player. And he was not only super annoying to play against when it came to respawns, he was a great S&D player, and he played the same exact way. You know, the entry man, first blood, he's blood or get blooded. That's what he lives by, and he did it fantastically throughout the whole year. He did his role to a T. I do think he was one of the best SMG players in the game, and while his stats might not show or might not be flashy, you know, you might not pull up the stats and be like, oh damn, TJ dropped a 1.2. If you watched the series, you saw how he impacted the game and just really how much of a difference maker he was, especially late into the season. And I think it's a deserving spot to be number 5 on the list for TJ, in my opinion. I mean, I didn't want to put him there, you know, because I used to put him in the dirt, but he somehow did well versus everyone else. I don't know how. Coming in at number 4, guys, is none other than my boy, Litigo, aka Slasher. Slasher had a little bit of a rocky start in the beginning of World War II. You know, he was on Envy. He was teaming with Temp, Classic, and Huke. And everyone thought that they were just going to instantly click, you know, and they were going to be a top team, an instant championship caliber team. But it just never panned out. They never really had any success, and you know, you can't just put that on Slasher by any means, because Slasher was performing. I think a lot of it came down to just how the team was gelling, the attitudes, and there were also some other players on their team that weren't performing up to their standards, and I guess how people really predicted them to play. So it was tough for him in the beginning of the year, but he still had some fantastic events, you know. Multiple times he had 1.2, 1.3, but it just wasn't amounting to anything really. And it was hard because people thought he was really good. Obviously, you know, we're talking about Slasher. This guy's no slouch when it comes to the main AR role. He's one of the best main ARs in Call of Duty history, especially, you know, the last couple of years and going back to World War II and even before World War II. But he didn't really start shining, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, until he joined Rise. He joined Rise for Methods, and he was playing alongside TJ Haley, who was, you know, coming at the number 5 spot, Gunless, and Looney. And this is when people thought that Rise was going to be completely undeniable, you know, because they were good. They had won an event already with Methods, and, you know, they were a top team. But comparing Slasher to Methods, you know, Methods was a great player in World War II, but it was one of those things, yo, sorry, you're doing good, man, like, you got an MVP, Slasher's on the market. And so they decided to make the move, and it proved to be the right move, honestly. He was an absolute monster at Seattle. He had a 1.27 KD, literally just dominated in every single game mode, especially SND. He had, I believe it was a 1.5 in the game mode. And obviously, You know, as a main AR, your stats are supposed to be better, right? You know, I kind of brought some stats up with TJ. So it's different. You have to understand the roles. But Slasher was huge for them. And I think he really just propelled them to, you know, they had won a championship with Methods, but he propelled them to a new level of dominance to where, you know, people thought they could potentially, depending on how the future of COD went, you know, maybe sneak on in the argument of being one of the best teams of all time. Coming in at number 3, guys, I have who, in my opinion, was the best main AR player in the entirety of World War II. The slowest motherfucker I've ever teamed with, but also one of the clutchest players I've ever teamed with. And that is Mr. Abidi, General Abidi, Lamar Abidi. Accuracy. Now, some of y'all might agree with that. If you're a real one, you will agree with that. If you're not a real one, you're probably going to say, no shot, you got accuracy coming in at number 3. You know, you probably think Slasher was way better than him. And you know what? That's fair. No, it's not fair, actually, because accuracy deserves to be on this list at number 3, and he deserves that title to be the best main AR. And here's why. First off, this game was built for accuracy, okay? It was a slower paced game. You know, you could post up, really just hold lanes, lock stuff down. But accuracy did it all. As a main AR player, he did. He was one of my favorite teammates of all time. I know a lot of people felt the same that teamed with him in World War II. And it's because he did his role to perfection in that game. Now, yeah, he wasn't the flashiest, okay? He didn't have the most highlight plays. He did have a good amount, though, by the way, in World War II. But he just did what he had to do. You know, he would hold the spawns. He would lock down a lane against any main AR. He would soak all the hill time up. It was fantastic, by the way. So I just run around with the PPSH, just like, yo, Lamar's like, I got the hill. You know, he was great in SND, great in CTF, great in Harpoon. He was great across the board, had the ice in his veins in SND. I know y'all seen the thing where he was like, you know, he clutched up and did one of those. I was kind of whack, but my boy. And he did it consistently throughout the whole year. Him and TK won the first 2 events. They went back to back. He also won season 2 playoffs with the kid, and he got second at COD Champs, the kid. But he gets a lot of disrespect, and you know what's fair, because Lamar isn't necessarily the best main AR, right? Or maybe even in the argument for one of the best ARs of all time. Lamar's playstyle is very unique, I guess you could say, compared to a lot of the other top AR players in the game, at least in my opinion. But in World War II, it just fit him. It did. And he can get hate, man, because he's a personality. You're gonna hate him or you're gonna love him. You know, if you're a TK fan at the time, or you're an accuracy fan, you know, you're a ride or die, and he's a ride or die for you. You know, he's not afraid of shit talking your favorite pro, and so he could rub a good amount of people the wrong way, if you know what I'm saying. But he backed it up. You know, he was the most successful main AR throughout the entirety of World War II. You know, he had fantastic stats. He got an MVP during the year, but he just was great at everything. It was his game. You know, it fit him to a T. And I think, without a doubt in my mind, he was the best AR player in the game. Coming in at the number 2 spot is that boy, Big P. 240 hertz, too huge for him, aka Gunless. And I don't even really need to speak on this. I don't feel like, at least, because it's pretty obvious how fucking disgusting Gunless was at World War II. The guy did it all. Run a sub, he could run a main, he could run a flex, which he mostly did. You know, because there was, at first it was the FG42 meta, right? But then STG was kind of the main AR. PPSH was always a sub, but then the bar came into the game, and that was like the flex gun. You know, you could be a little bit quicker than the STG, had a little bit more power, but you could impact the game differently. And Gunless had multiple events where he just looked unfuckwittable in World War II. He did. Gunless helped Rise win 3 events in World War II. 2 of them, he actually also took home the MVP. And if you watch how Gunless played in World War II, I mean, if you just watch how Gunless plays in general, you can see the impact that he has on every single map that he plays. But in World War II, you know, with his role, especially when he was teamed with Slasher, right? You know, I'm going to touch on the stats subject again. I mean, Gunless, don't get me wrong, had fantastic stats throughout all of World War II after he joined Rise from Echo Fox. He had a little bit of a rough start, but not really for as long as Slasher did. When you're in a flex role or a sub role, you're going to be taking over games more than, say, a main AR player, right? But you're also going to get into more engagements, more difficult situations, harder gunfights, etc., etc. That's just the name of the game. Now, I'm not saying that you can't take over the game with a main AR, because it's happened plenty of times. But it's just easier to do because you're impacting the game more. You're moving around the map more. You know, you're pushing out cuts more. You're pinching. I could go on and on and on. And Gunless was a tough kill. He might have been I was going to say toughest. Wasn't the toughest. He's the second toughest kill in World War II, probably. And it didn't matter what map, didn't matter what game mode. I know I keep saying it for all these players, but it's true. When you are a top 5 player, and I say this in all my top 5 videos, guys, you're fucking disgusting at every single game mode, okay? And you have the ability, like you're a superstar. You're a top 5 player in the league. And now, this should be a easy guess who the #1 player in World War II was. That's my boy Ken. Hands down. I don't care what anyone says. Nobody. Nobody was better than Ken in World War II. I think he changed the game. Well, it's hard to say change the game because COD changes every year, but changed the mindset a little bit in World War II of how to run a sub. And I don't think anyone else played like him in that game. And I think that's because no one else could play like that, because they didn't have the right mix of skill that Kenny had, and also just awareness and in-game smarts. Okay, because that's how a lot of people thought Kenny was just all talent, and people still do. Kenny is one of the smartest Call of Duty players in the game right now, like in Cold War, but especially in World War II. That is what separated him from a lot of the other SMG players, the main subs, the aggressors, is because they were just go, 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 you know, and super aggro. And Ken was as well, but he never put himself in a disadvantage in that game. I look at Ken similar to how I would talk about Simp, right? In Black Ops 4, how he played. You never caught him lacking, you know? You never caught Ken lacking. You never caught Ken like in a disadvantage. Ken would walk into a hill, pop a 3-piece, flip him out, and I'm just sitting there like running in, getting a kid in the side. Now I got spawns, like, you know what I'm saying? Ken would just open up the game for us. He really would. And not even for us, like he was doing it the whole year, even when he was teamed with Sheen and Theory. And it was special. I think that was one of the best individual years of all time in Call of Duty history. You know, it sucks we couldn't win champs. We got second. I think if we got first at champs, especially with how Kenny was playing, it could have went down, you know, potentially like top 3 best individual year of all time, especially best rookie year of all time. Even though I said he played an AW for like, I think 2 events or whatever, this was his quote unquote rookie year. So yeah, he was just something special, man. I don't think anyone could take that away from him in that game. He's hands down the best. All right, guys, that does it for today's video. That is my top 5 Call of Duty World War II pros. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you have some of the lists swapped around a little bit? I think it's pretty spot on, but I want to know your opinions. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always, man. I appreciate the love. I got some news coming out too. If you're still watching, I do have an update coming out in maybe a day or 2. I don't know, but just about the future of the YouTube channel. and just myself in general. You know, it's a good video. Okay, so you don't gotta be all paranoid or anything like, oh shit, what's he doing? You know what I'm saying? Is he giving up on YouTube? He's retiring already? No, but so it's good news, but I will be giving out an update. And yeah, until next time, boys, stay safe, stay healthy. I just said stay healthy. Until next time, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'm gonna see y'all when I see y'all. Kid is